Welcome back into the 5 Sports Show, everybody. Cam Murray, joined by Zach.
Yeah.
23-17 the final. West Virginia drops their 5th straight game and also their 5th straight Big 12 contest. Now, this one was a little bit different, Zach. This one was a lot more competitive than we've seen in recent Big 12 matchups, and specifically from the passing game. Now, one Scotty Fox might have just given himself a lot more leeway than any other player on this team.
Yeah.
We talked earlier in the week about what player maybe to bring back, but Scotty Fox looked promising in this game, although the result didn't go in the favor of West Virginia. I think there's a lot to take away positively from, yes, the 5th straight loss of West Virginia's season.
Yeah, in Coach Rodriguez's press conference, he said, I don't do moral victories. Like, somebody asked him that. Like,
Right.
he doesn't really do moral victories because he mentions the 40 rushing yards. You mentioned the passing yards. He focused on the 40 rushing yards. He said you can't win a football game that way. But in my opinion, Cam, I think you agree. I take away a lot of positive things from this game. You play close with a Big 12 team. You come back home. You show a lot of resiliency, show a lot of fight from this team, something we hadn't seen, some effort, which is something Coach Rodriguez also mentioned. Saw a lot of effort today that you hadn't seen in previous games, especially both those the BYU game on the road, that was a wash. So tonight to come back and actually show some effort, play close with a TCU team that's probably, objectively better, I think it's a good sign.
Yeah, and I want to just talk about the fans a little bit. I think, whether or not it's been, of course, West Virginia has not played well this season. That's just flat out the case. So the fans showing out and staying. Now, they're staying for the whole game. Now, I understand, it's cold outside. We had a lot of guys wearing no shirts. I don't even know.
I saw 2 different fan sections of I don't know if they were students or what, but they were not wearing shirts. So that's bold out here.
So whoever was wearing the no shirts, we respect you. But in terms of the game, 41 rushing yards, very uncharacteristic of this group all season. Now,
definitely.
in the TCU press conference, Sonny Dykes talked about that, saying we come into this game wanting to take away one thing, the rushing attack, and they did. 41 rushing yards on something like I don't know. I don't know what their carries were, but it seemed like they weren't really getting anywhere.
Definitely not a good yards per carry. Definitely not.
So what TCU did well was stop the rushing attack, but what we saw was almost like a mirage, or we've never seen this passing attack play so well for West Virginia this season.
Completely opposite. It was completely opposite.
It was, West Virginia's taking what the defense was giving them, and I think this is a great step in the right direction for Scotty Fox. We're probably going to see him a lot more this season and maybe in the future as well.
Yep.
He's someone you can really count on, in the passing game. Now, there's a few times where maybe a few mistakes were made, but he's a true freshman, so those are going to be baked in. What was, a big takeaway you had? We just talked about the passing and the rushing attack. Let's go to the defense now. What did you kind of notice from that side of the ball?
But before we flip over to defense, I do want to take away something from the offense because you already mentioned it, but the passing game, I take away that right off the bat. You see Scotty Fox kind of, come into his role as a passer. You hadn't seen any of the WVU quarterbacks, injured or not, become a decent passer. I don't think a WVU quarterback even had over 250 yards. Maybe Nico Marchiol against Robert Morris.
Maybe.
But
even then there hadn't been, you could look at across the board in terms of what Scotty Fox did tonight in the passing game.
Yeah.
Now, me personally, I didn't think Scotty Fox was a passer.
No, I thought he was more of a runner.
I thought he was a runner.
Right.
He's throwing the ball all around the yard. Now, granted, Cam Vaughn made a few great catches, but yeah, like we said, this is a guy you can count on in the passing game, a guy we hadn't seen give evidence to anything close to a good passing attack for West Virginia. He provided that.
I agree. For the first time, someone in this quarterback room provided that passing attack, albeit the rushing offense wasn't there. But you see that passing attack, that's something definitely positive to take away from the offense, something we hadn't seen all year. And maybe even moving into next year. Hopefully he's your guy if he sticks around. Hopefully he's your guy. He's a freshman, got lots of time to develop. But I do want to switch gears, like you said, to the defense as well, because that group kept West Virginia in this game throughout. You give up 23 points at the end. Might seem like a lot to you. To me here, compared to other games we've seen this season, that's a great defensive showing, I feel like, for the Mountaineers to only hold TCU to 23 at offense that scores. They got a veteran quarterback. They score at will and sometimes. So to see the defense, step up, especially in the first half, kept them in this game throughout. It was 20-7. I believe, at halftime. That was a halftime score. I felt like the game was closer than that because in the first quarter it was only 10-7. West Virginia got that touchdown late in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So, I felt like it was closer than that, than the halftime score showed. And then they made it close in the second half, and the defense continued to get stops on third down. And And that was the difference to make this game close at the end. Just couldn't get it done on offense in that last couple drives.
I think it comes down to just crucial plays as well, and especially in the fourth quarter. We had a golf cart riding by.
Excuse that, jeez.
Nice looking golf cart. But anyway, I mean, there's a few crucial moments in this game that really could have turned the tide for West Virginia. First of all, the onside kick.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That was a very, surprising play that took TCU by surprise as well. They ended up recovering, but going off, honestly, it happened right around here. McAllister makes a catch around the 10 or 15-yard line, fumbles, and then he recovers his own fumble. That is just a backbreaker for West Virginia. And at that point,
because it was a one-possession game at that point. That was an opportunity for WVU to get the ball back and go down and score maybe. That was one that was definitely a shot in the chest.
It was like 3rd down, 3rd and 6. It was barely 2 minutes to go. They get a stop here. They have still a 2-minute warning to work with. Right. And, they just doesn't fall their way, doesn't bounce their way. And I think a lot of things like that have – well, honestly, we hadn't seen a lot of things happen like that this year. A lot of games have been over pretty much end of the third quarter where everyone knows what the score is pretty much going to be. This was a game which, obviously, Rich Rod said no moral victories, not going to hang your hat on a lot of things. But maybe he said it to the media, but I think they're going to go back and look at this and actually say, wow, this is probably one of our best games we played all season. Scotty Fox, true freshman, had no turnovers.
Yeah,
that's something very uncharacteristic from the quarterbacks we've seen this season, throwing the ball all over the yard.
Did they have any turnovers on offense, WVU? I don't believe they did.
I don't think they did either. So
definitely your best Big 12 conference game, I feel like. Would you agree with that?
100%. And I think when you take this Big 12 conference game now, what the people outside of the building thought what was going to happen, 17.5 spread, clearly that was not the case tonight because West Virginia played a great game on defense. But going more throughout the rest of the season, is Scotty Fox the guy we're going to be seeing for the rest of the year? Should he be the guy we're seeing for the rest of the year?
I mean, based on injuries, Cam.
Based on health,
Based on health, it seems like it might be Rich Rod might have to play his hand. It might be forced because he might have to play Scotty Fox the whole season. But I think you've shown that, and now with all the injuries, guys banged up. Max Brown, we haven't seen him really play at all. He didn't come in the game at all tonight. Only one quarterback for WVU tonight, so that's a change of pace.
Is that the first time all season long we've seen one quarterback play the entire game?
I think that's the first time all season that WVU has only played one quarterback from start to finish, like you said. So Fox, he seems like he's going to be the guy moving forward. He's your freshman. Maybe you develop him, turn him into a guy that's a 4-year starter. I know that's kind of rare in this era of college football, but hopefully if you can retain him, that would be the ideal situation. Right. So he's your guy you'll lean on, definitely. You saw a lot in the passing game from him. So I think he's, to answer your question simply, he's the guy based on injuries and based on performance. He proved it.
And, for the fans out there watching, if you were either in the stands or at home on your couch, what do you take away from a game like this? Obviously another loss, 5th straight loss in the Big 12 Conference, 5th straight loss of the year. But there are positives to take away from this game. Yeah. And maybe you're not looking at it right now, an hour after the fact, but going on the rest of the season, this was easily the second best game West Virginia's offense played and probably the second best defensive game they had all season long.
With that,
So a lot of takeaway. TCU's a really good team. Now, that's one thing we got to state as well. This is a really good Big 12 team, very good offense, and West Virginia held them to only 23 points. Okay. So next week on the road at Houston, I guess we're going to see Scotty Fox. Is that who you assume will be under center?
I would assume that you'll see Scotty Fox under center.
And speaking of that, the injuries have taken a hit of the team all, but you posted it on our Facebook, the picture of Nico Marchiol, and I saw Jakeem White, a lot of players coming to support. That's really all it's about for this. This was a big event, obviously, for the state, the school, the university itself.
All that,
So I think the team really elevated their play. It showed. I mean, if this was a regular game, who knows? This might have been 23-7. This might have been 35-10. Who knows? They showed out at the right moments. There was a few times in the game that maybe they could have had a nice catch here. Maybe they could have had a good stop. Only lost by 6. Yeah. Does seem like it was pretty close. Zach, any final thoughts on this 5th straight loss?
Yeah, I mean, it's 5th straight loss, but we definitely have a more positive tone tonight than we had. I mean, or go to our last home game, Utah. But our tone was really negative in that game, to say the least. And then you go back to the last couple road games, against BYU. We've had a negative tone, I feel like, here on the 5 Sports Show, which is, definitely, warranted given how the team's playing. But tonight it seems like we're more positive because there is some positive takeaways. I mean, you have your quarterback maybe for the rest of the season, have a guy you can rely on, barring any injuries. And I think another big takeaway that West Virginia, when they go back and watch film, will take from this game is 3rd and 4th down. I especially go back to that 4th down QB sneak early in the game. I mean, you're only you're only down 3-0 at that point, but it feels like a play that really mattered because as you went on in the game, I felt like Coach Rodriguez was more hesitant to go for it on fourth down because of that play.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
The tush push is what the 4th and 1, 4th and 2. I think, and I was sitting over here with a few of the camera operators as well, so some of our reporters. At that moment, you're kind of in field goal range early in the game. Take a field goal, you get points on the board, get yourself going. They didn't do that, and a lot of times, they trust that play. It's not as successful as Philly does it. I'll tell you that.
True.
Not as successful as the Brotherly Show.
I felt like it was kind of predictable in that situation as well. That was just my personal opinion on that play. I felt like you maybe hand the ball off or do a passing play there, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not a coach here or anything. I'm just giving my advice because I felt like that was kind of predictable. Once you line up in that formation, you see that. So I felt like that play kind of decided how he approached all the other fourth down, talking about Coach Rodriguez, for the rest of the game, because you saw some 4th and 1, some 4th and 2s, albeit they were in WVU territory, that he decided to punt on, and the fans weren't happy about that here at the stadium. So definitely something I think they will take away is the 4th and 3rd downs. You have to clean that up. That's been a problem all year, of course. We've talked about that. So,
Well, as we close out this 5-sport show, pretty nice night at the Coal Rush game, although not a win. A lot chilly, I will say.
I should say a lot chilly.
Football weather, as they might consider it. But another tough loss for West Virginia. We'll be back this week previewing the Houston game. And, of course, why not get out to Houston probably. But we'll have the podcast always after that game.
And leave us some comments. Let us know what you think about the team, about today's game, everything. Let us know.
Exactly that. So it's going to end us for this 5-sport show at Milan Puskar Stadium. Again, 23-17 the final against TCU. That's all for us on the 5-sport show.